that's nice. Well, look at that. Well, now we're getting somewhere. But then again, and then there was the price. What about image stabilization and weather sealing? But then there was also the, yeah, better video features. The price. But there was weather sealing and image stabilization. But what about that DCI 4K? But then the price. I don't know. So I'm sure that a lot of you guys are familiar with what I'm feeling right now, which is major option anxiety over the choice of a new camera. What I'm working on here is the decision about a B camera to go with my GH5. I've really enjoyed the GH5 greatly since I got it about 8 or 9 months ago. And would really love to have another GH5, but I'm just not really willing to drop another couple of $1,000 on another body like that. So what I'm wanting to do is to find a good B camera that satisfies the needs for mostly lockdown shots, because I'm a one-man operation, so most of the time the B camera is going to be sitting up on a tripod while I walk around with the GH5, because it has such great image stabilization. That would be sort of my typical way of using it. Now I've gotten it down to 3 choices pretty much, which is the Panasonic G7, the G85, and the GH4. First of all, the G7 gets a big win, obviously, for the price. Right now on B&H it's $497.99, so that's really enticing for a new camera that's under $500 that has 4K or shoots 4K. And has really a lot of features. Looking at the G85, now I'm starting to see that with that camera, a couple of features that are really enticing to me there would be the in-body image stabilization, which I've really enjoyed on the GH5, bearing in mind that I actually need to keep the B camera on a tripod most of the time. While it's nice and it would be good if something happened to my GH5 to have a camera that has in-body image stabilization to pick up the slack, it's really not 100% necessary, but the G85 does have weather sealing and it has less of a 4K crop than the G7, and also less than, from what I understand, less than what I'm seeing on the GH4, which is my third option. Now, what makes the GH4 appealing is it has the weather sealed body, which I'm definitely interested in, because sometimes you have to shoot in unfavorable conditions, and I have a couple of Canon Rebels that I started this whole DSLR type shooting, video shooting adventure with, and it really has changed things for me since having the GH5 to not have to just dash for cover instantly every time there's more than a couple of drops of rain falling out of the sky. Also, I've had to shoot in dusty conditions, and just with the GH5 it's been nice to not worry so much about all that. So the G85 and the GH4 get high marks for that, and that makes them very worthy of consideration. Now, another thing about the GH4 is that I've noticed that the video options, as far as like frame rates and it does have some DCI 4K features available, which sort of puts it in a higher echelon to my mind than the G85 or the G7. Now, some other things about the GH4 that I find appealing is that it seems to share the same battery, from what I understand, as the with the GH5, and it has, from what I can tell, unlimited video time, shooting time, whereas I think the G85 and the G7 both have a limit, maybe 30 minutes or something like that. And also the options, the different file options on the G7 and G85 seem to be significantly less than the GH4. So I'm just finding some similarities between the GH4 and the GH5 that make it more appealing. The idea of using the same battery would be fantastic, because that would be one less different item to worry about. So if you just have a bunch of batteries that could work with 2 different camera bodies, that's obviously better than having to worry about 2 different kinds of battery, and to go along with that, 2 different kinds of charger. So anyway, I know these are problems that a lot of us have faced with trying to decide about cameras, and what I'm really doing here is just kind of putting a call out there. Anybody who watches this video, which may be almost nobody, yep, probably like a tree falling in the woods. But if somebody watches this that has GH5 and one of these other cameras, or even just has experience with any of these three cameras that I'm mentioning, the G7, the G85, and the GH4, I'd just like to hear what your experience has been like. Some of the things I'm concerned with, obviously, is battery life, and what maybe has the best image quality and the best low light performance. I know none of these are going to be fantastic low light cameras, but what maybe just is there a difference in the noise, I guess is what I'm getting at. And what have your experience has been with regards to shooting these cameras in real situations, particularly something like a club with a band with low light and changing light conditions, a lot of shadows and potential noise in the shadows, or high contrast outside. You know, just the variable things that happen in real life, not just testing, pointing at a chart kind of stuff, but the real thing. So I'd just like to hear what your experiences might be if you own one of these cameras, or have owned one, or spent some time with them, and especially if you have a combination of these cameras, maybe even a GH5 plus one of these other cameras, and how you feel they match up together, and how you feel about taking them out on a shoot. I realize this video may not be terribly helpful for anybody but myself, but there may be somebody else out there with similar questions and facing a similar dilemma about trying to decide between these cameras. So if anybody that's watching this would like to contribute a little bit of help, please just leave your suggestions and just your thoughts or experiences in the comments, and I would really appreciate that. And if you want to see more content from this channel, click like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon, hopefully with a second camera.